Court blocks Trump bid to end protections for 600,000 Venezuelans. If you're interested in this topic, please pay attention and watch the video through to the end to get all the information. Please hit like and subscribe. And don't forget to push the notification bell for an upcoming video. Appellate panel upholds lower court's ruling as Homeland Security spokesperson attacks activists. Judges of federal appeals court on Friday blocked Donald Trump's plans to end protections for 600,000 people from Venezuela who have permission to live and work in the U.S., saying that plaintiffs are likely to win their claim that the present administration's actions were unlawful. A three-judge panel of the Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals unanimously upheld a lower court ruling that maintained temporary protected status for Venezuelans, while TPS holders challenged actions by the Republican president's administration in court. The Ninth Circuit judges found that plaintiffs were likely to succeed on their claim that Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem had no authority to vacate or set aside a prior extension of TPS, because the governing statute written by Congress does not permit it. The administration of Trump's Democratic presidential predecessor Joe Biden had extended TPS for people from Venezuela. In enacting the TPS statute, Congress designed a system of temporary status that was predictable, dependable, and insulated from electoral politics. Judge Kim Wardlaw, who was nominated by President Bill Clinton, a Democrat, wrote for the panel. The other two judges on the panel were also nominated by Democratic presidents. In an email, a spokesperson for the Department of Homeland Security condemned the decision as more obstruction from unelected activist judges. For decades, the TPS program has been abused, exploited, and politicized as a de facto amnesty program, the email read. While this injunction delays justice and undermines the integrity of our immigration system, Secretary Noem will use every legal option at the department's disposal to end this chaos and prioritize the safety of Americans. Congress authorized TPS as part of the Immigration Act of 1990. It allows the DHS Secretary to grant legal immigration status to people fleeing countries experiencing civil strife, environmental disaster, or other extraordinary and temporary conditions that prevent a safe return to that home country. The terms are for 6, 12, and 18 months. The appellate judges said the guaranteed time limitations were critical so people could gain employment, find long-term housing, and build stability without fear of shifting political winds. But in ending the protection soon after Trump took office, Noem said conditions in Venezuela had improved, and it was not in the U.S. national interest to allow migrants from there to stay on for what is a temporary program. It's part of a broader move by Trump's administration to reduce the number of immigrants who are in the country, either without legal documentation or through legal temporary programs. The U.S. District Judge Edward Chin of San Francisco found in March that plaintiffs were likely to prevail on their claim that the administration had overstepped its authority in terminating the protections. Chin postponed the terminations, but the U.S. Supreme Court reversed them without explanation, which is common in emergency appeals. It is unclear what effect Friday's ruling will have on the estimated 350,000 Venezuelans in the group of 600,000 whose protections expired in April. Their lawyers say some have already been fired from jobs, detained in immigration jails, separated from their U.S. citizen children, and even deported. Protections for the remaining 250,000 Venezuelans are set to expire on September 10th. What is really significant now is that the Second Court unanimously recognized that the trial court got it right, said Emmy McLean, a senior staff attorney with the ACLU Foundation of Northern California representing plaintiffs. She added that while the decision might not benefit immediately those people who have already lost their status or are about to lose their status, Friday's ruling should provide a path for the administration's illegal actions related to Venezuela and TPS to finally be undone. Ways to stop deportation and stay in the U.S. legally. Today, we're talking about a sensitive topic: how to navigate the U.S. immigration system without facing deportation. If you're in a tough spot, remember, there are legal options that might help you resolve your status or leave on your own terms. 1. Voluntary departure and self-deportation. One key way to avoid a formal deportation order is through voluntary departure or self-deportation. This means leaving the U.S. on your own initiative, which can help preserve your future immigration options. According to U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Self-deportation allows individuals who are illegally present to depart without arrest or detention, giving you time to organize your affairs, like notifying family and packing belongings. The benefit? It might avoid re-entry bars that come with a removal order, such as 3 or 10-year bans on returning. However, if you're already in removal proceedings, leaving could still trigger bars, so check with professional first. This approach emphasizes taking control rather than waiting for enforcement actions. 2. Cancellation of removal. Another option is applying for a cancellation of removal, which can stop deportation and potentially lead to permanent residency. For the 10-year version, you need to have lived in the U.S. for at least 10 continuous years, show good moral character, like no serious crimes, and prove that your deportation would cause extreme hardship to a U.S. citizen or permanent resident family member, such as a spouse or child. The process involves filing an application, gathering evidence like medical records or school documents, and attending hearings before an immigration judge. If approved, you might adjust your status, but denials can be appealed. This is a strong defense for long-term residents with deep family ties. 3. Temporary protections like TPS and DACA for temporary relief. Programs like temporary protected status can protect you from deportation if your home country faces conditions like armed conflict or natural disasters. Eligibility requires being from a designated country, continuous U.S. residence since a specified date, and no serious criminal history. Benefits include work authorization and the inability to be detained based on your status alone, though it's not a path to permanent residency. Similarly, deferred action for childhood arrivals offers 2-year renewable protection from deportation for those who arrived as children, along with work permits. You must meet criteria like arriving before age 16, continuous residence since 2007, and no major convictions. While new applications are limited due to legal challenges, renewals are still processed. These programs provide breathing room to explore long-term solutions. 4. Other legal defenses and tips. Beyond these, you might qualify for asylum if you fear persecution back home, adjustment of status if eligible for a green card, e.g. through family, or waivers for certain inadmissibility grounds. Always start by seeking a legal consultation. Organizations like the National Immigrant Justice Center recommend creating a safety plan, collecting documents, and avoiding scams. Remember, fighting deportation often involves challenging the grounds in court with an attorney's help. Knowledge is power, but every case is unique. Don't go it alone, reach out to trusted resources. If this helped, subscribe, and share. Stay safe, and thanks for watching.
Court blocks Trump bid to end protections for 6 lakh Venezuelans. A federal appeals court has blocked Donald Trump's attempt and temporary protected status for 6 lakh Venezuelans holding a low court ruling. The Ninth Circuit universally found that plaintiffs are likely to succeed in arguing that Homeland Security Secretary Christine exceeded her authority in terminating the program, as the Congress never allowed such actions under the Immigration Act of 1990. TPS created to protect people fleeing war, disaster, or extraordinary crisis provides temporary legal status for permanence and stability. The court emphasized that Congress intended TPS to be predictable and shielded from politics. Trump's administration, however, argued Venezuelans' conditions had improved and sought to reduce reliance on a temporary immigration program. DHS condemned the decision, calling judges activist and avowing further legal action. The ruling impacts about 350,000 Venezuelans whose protections already expired, many facing job loss, detention, or depression. Protection for the remaining 250,000 are set to expire on September 10, leaving their future uncertain despite the ACLU optimism that this ruling could unlawful terminations.